Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. This is our daily webinar Monday morning, but we will also post this out on YouTube as the weekly outlook. To my YouTube viewers, if you've been following me for a while, you would know that this is basically just for the day. It's not going to be active for the week, the entire week. Some of it will be active for the entire week. Most of what I'm going to show you will be actually valid for a day or two mostly. After that, changes in structure might be the opposite of what I'm telling you we're going to do now. If you follow me, you also know we do this 3, 4, 5 times a day, which means we can see change in structure. We can take smaller trades in the opposite direction, right? If you would like to have access to all of that, send me a message on Skype. Why Skype? Because your messages are stored there for future in case we have the conversation again. There are people who write me 3 years ago and now they're in the group. Right? They didn't take the end, but the conversation was there, so we didn't have to start all again. All they have to say, okay, I'm ready now to be in your group, and that's it. So my Skype ID is, let me just type, that would be MANGAL457. So why am I giving you my ID again? Well, because we are starting a course at the end of this month, a live course. We have those only about twice yearly. So at the end of this month, we'll be having a live course. If you would like to join us, send me a message. I'll give you all the details. You can join us either as a full member, immediately get access to everything, or you can join us as an installment payer, which means you will be paying for your course in installment. But while you're paying, we will give you access to the London webinar. We'll give you access to the New York webinar. Very often, right now you're getting the recording, but we are working on getting that live. So you join, you'll get access. That is free because you're not paying for that. You're paying for the course, but because you can't afford the same time, you wouldn't get access to everything. You'll get access partially while you're paying. Thank you. Let's move on. Let's go. Dollar index. So if you're watching this video very first time, what we do is called wave analysis. And to understand wave analysis, it's a little complex. It's not complicated, it's complex. We're looking for patterns that we can identify. Patterns do tend to vary, right? But if you're using the analysis the right way and you have a very good strategy and you're using good money management, the chances are you're going to get out of most trades for positive, right? Very few losses, because what you're going to do, a lot of trades that are not going exactly the way you wanted to go or where you want them to go will be close or positive or break even. We call them break even, mostly positive, negative break even. Very small losses, very small wins, those are break-even trades. The ones that go to your target are winning trades. The ones that come and take you out in your stop loss are losing trades. Those are very rare. We have worked on a strategy to kind of prevent you from taking those losses, which means you get out way before. So here's a good example of this. We were looking at this. We don't buy the dollar index, but this would all the trades that we're taking. So we're thinking this could be a contracting plan, and this could take off. Well, it stays there for a long time. And if you follow me, you know, we would be out of that trade already. We wouldn't even be, that would be a positive trade, that's closer positive. And now you're looking at it today and you have to make a decision where you're going to do buy or sell. So for us to decide how we're going to do that, we first look at the patterns we have and where we are on any given pattern. So on the weekly, the daily, the monthly, we're at the top. On the 4 hour, this is not a top. This is like a second top in a very sharp move down and a sharp move up. So if it is still the contracting flat that we think it is, then there's a chance that this is going to come down. Very likely it's not going to come down sharp. It might start to come down really, really slow. And then probably go back up and then come back down. And then that would mean we're going to go back up one more. That is a possible pattern that we see that could develop based on what we have right now. So what you're saying to yourself, but if it is going to be that, then how would I take advantage of that? What would be my trade if it is that? What if it is not that? Could it have possibly been that a different pattern has formed inside here rather than the contracting flat? And the answer is yes. You could probably look at this as a running flat. What if it is actually making a running flat? If this is a running flat, then what is likely going to happen is that this is going to go and break the top. And here comes the next question. Well, if it is going to go up, what is the trade and where would it go? Well, it's actually limited to where you think it can go. And by limit, I mean breaking this top could be all that it does. If you're thinking upside, you're thinking breaking that top and that could be the end of it. That doesn't mean it will be the end of it, but based on patterns, that could be the end of it. So you have to calculate that, okay, if it breaks the stop, I must have a chance to either get out or I might have a chance to take profit. That's the calculation. So what would be the buy setup? Well, you can look at it two ways. You either buy above this stop, or if in the way up, you get a flag, you use that flag to buy. That's the buy setup, right? Which means if it does that, this is what I would do. I know the limits of the trade. I know where the target should be. I know what risk I'm going to put on. I know how I'm going to get the hell out of that trade if it doesn't go. Just like this one. If it doesn't go, I have a plan. We have a strategy as to how to get out. Well, what if it doesn't give you a flag? Well, then you can decide, you know what? I might have been right about the contracting flat. So in that case, I should have a sell set up here. You could look at this and say, well, is it actually making a flat there for a drop? If it's going to drop, would it drop to this area? Like I said, that's rare. That it's going to give you a sharp drop. Most likely, you're going to get like this coming down. So if you're going to take this trade, you're pretty sure that if it does this, you're going to get break even, most likely very small win. If it does this, you actually get profit, but this is very unlikely. You're talking about probability. What is the probability of it doing this or the probability of it doing that? And the only way you can know those probabilities by knowing patterns and understanding what pattern I'm looking at when I decide it's going to be this or this. So there's a higher probability for this to happen. There's a second, if I have to ask me the very first one, I think there's a higher probability for this to happen. That's about, I would say 80 to 20, 80% that is going to happen. If I'm looking at this coming down here, that's about a 50-50. If I'm looking at this happen, that's about a 10-90. So there's only a 10% chance of this happening. There's about a 50% chance and there's about an 80% chance of that happening based on the development of patterns that we have. Now, that is just probability. That's not your trade, or that's not your entry, or that's not the strategy. What you're going to say, if any one of these happen, do I want it? And if I want it, what's my strategy? So the strategy for the sell is pretty simple. Put an entry over here. It's a valid trade right now. Your stop should be here. Your target should be here, whether it comes like this or whether it comes like this. Now, the question is, if it comes like this, would you go with that trade, stay with it? It depending if it moves away from your entry and you can get it to break even. If it doesn't move away and you have to take break even, you take the break even. You might get a second trade onto it. So the downside is clear. What about the upside? Well, the upside, we have to wait for a flag. I'm more, like I said, it's an 80% for upside, but we have to wait for the flag because there is no trade setup at the moment. So we'll put it as a sell, and that sell within the next couple of hours could change into a buy. And that's a difficulty about wave analysis. That's a complex part of wave analysis that most traders do not get. If you haven't learned this, you don't understand that part of it, right? You just can't watch what I do and understand what I just meant there, because it's going to be difficult. You have to see it the way we look at it. And then you understand, oh, I see why they're looking for this or this, and I understand how they're going to take the trade, and I know how they manage the trade. So if you do, you can follow us. If you don't, well, you have to learn this stuff. Go watch more of my videos and you will see whether they do what I say they do, whether it goes where we think it's going, and then you will understand how to trade it. So we'll put this as a sell. I'll put it as an aggressive sell. We color code it. Why do we color code it? Because each one is telling us at what stage that trade is, whether the trade is a normal trade, whether it's an aggressive trade, which means in a lower time frame, whether it's a trade that is we are only waiting for a setup, which means there is no setup. We can take this off. That was a buy we took on Friday. It's a totally different strategy. It was during the news. We actually got it a little lower. We closed it. We put it back here. This doesn't have anything that you're going to see in there because it's not, the strategy is not at this time frame. And this is what we do. We expect it to take off. We expect this to come out of this pattern because we're looking at it this way. This is a low. This is a very sharp move up and we're consolidating. Now, here's the question. Is the consolidation over? Is this thing going to come more downside here and do more of this? Or is it going to take off? That's all you're going to ask yourself, right? That's the only question you have. Do I have a trade to the upside? Or is this just going to continue to do what it's doing here? Now, you don't know the answer to that because that's almost impossible to tell whether the correction is going to continue to go. But you know what to do if it's going to go up or if it's going to drop. You know what to look for. Right now, I'd say we're buying. Because I'm looking at this as a possibility that this here could be a small running flat. And if that is a running flat, if it proves what we think it is, like this one, see the small running flat here? We actually forecast that. And we put an entry here and then we put an entry here. this entry was closed, or if you kept it, you got the trade. If not, you re-enter here and you got that trade. So we're saying the same thing here, the possibility that this could take off. Pretty easy, right? So that's a buy setup. I'll put it as a buy immediately. Now, here's the thing. Again, could it possibly drop? Can it change and instead of going up, it drop? Yes, maybe. But at the moment, I don't see a reason for it to drop. If we do see a reason for it to drop, which means if this consolidation stays here a couple more hours, there's a very good chance I'm closing that and I'm looking for a sell. And that sell is going to bring me back to this low, break that low. Not necessarily this one, because this might come down really slow, go back up there, drop like this, and then go. Now you're going to say, what the hell did he just do? If you don't understand, if you've never seen my work and you're watching this for the first time, you're going to say, is this guy some magician? What the hell did he just draw there? And why would silver even do that? Why would this thing even be like that? Well, if you study the charts in the past, what you're saying is that when you see this, the likelihood this is what happens, right? So it's not because the chart is making any pattern, it's because what the traders are doing are creating a specific pattern, right? And because of that specific pattern, we've seen in the past, because we've seen that pattern in the past, sorry, we can see it in the future. That's the simple thing. The ability of understanding what happened in the past and forecasting that in the future. That's all there is to wave analysis. So we're looking at this and I'm saying, well, I have a buy setup right now. So I'm going to put the buy because if this thing takes off now, I won the trade. But if at any point in time I see they're doing this, okay, guess what? I'm going to be in the sell. So you can put it in a 15. You see, this is a very, very small 15 minutes flag. It's kind of look like a flag, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It might just do this and go back up. So the upside is still, if I get a 1 hour flag here, that means I'm selling. So let's wait and see which is it. I don't know. You don't have to know which is it. You have to know patterns and you have to decide, well, if this pattern happens, this is what I'm doing. And if that pattern has happened, then I'm not in the trade. What if this just drops suddenly? Well, I'm not in the trade. That's all. I'm not trying to say I know where it's going to go. I have to get it in. I'm saying there's a probability of this happening, and I work with a higher probability every time. That's a trade. Upside, let's see. Why is it upside also? You can go in the daily and figure out why I'm thinking, well, this thing could go back up. I've been telling you that for, if you're following me, you will understand. So right now we're looking for a buy setup. So we'll put that as a buy. Gold. Yep. If you're following me, you'll also know that when these two sharp waves happen, we told you it's going to be more complex. And the chances are they're going to drop and they're going to break this low, which they did. So now we broke the low. You're getting a flat. You're getting this right now looks like a flat for the upside. At the moment, this looks like a flat for upside. Or there are only two things that could happen here. That is a flat for upside, or we are making a bigger flat here for downside. So as this stand right now, if it goes up from here, that's a very good trade. We broke the low. This is the daily, weekly low. So if this goes up, perfect. It's a good trade. The probability of this going up is very high. I'll take this low off. No, I'll leave it there, but I need it for our group. I'll just put an entry above the top. Now this could change really, really fast, which means if this comes down lower, if this does something like that and come lower, all I'll be looking for is an up move and we're selling like this, right? Like this, right? So all we will be doing is selling if that happens. Now, this will take a while to happen. So I don't have to rush into anything. I don't have, you can wait for this to happen. It's never going to tag the top. Now, there are very rare cases where this goes tag the top there and start to come back. We can see that possibility as well. This is going to give you break even if that happens. But from where it is on the monthly, the weekly, the daily, the probability for upside is very, very high. Coming back to this top, pretty high. So that is why this trade for the buy is a good idea. Now, is it going to happen? Who cares? Literally, you're not supposed to be bothered of whether it is going to happen. Your analysis said that that is a possibility. You know what strategy you're going to use for the trade. Go ahead, take the trade, and then figure out everything else afterwards. You should have a trade management plan, which we have. So I'll put that for a buy, and let's see where that goes. Okay, this dropped to the level we wanted it. We tried to sell it, but it didn't go the way we expected to go down. So that trade became a break-even trade. We didn't get back into the sell, and now we are here. Two ways to look at this. This is a contracting flat 1, 2, 3. Then this trade would be an amazing trade to the downside. Or we're still in here in this correction. We're going to go back there, maybe even come back here and then go break this top and then drop. So we're either making a bigger flat or we're going to drop today. All we have to do is see whether we have a flag here in the 1 hour. Doesn't look to me like we have a flag on the 1 hour. This doesn't look like a flag. It doesn't even look like a correction. And this sharp drop, it doesn't look like there's a running flat there. I wouldn't go with a running flat in there. If I have to go with that for anything, I'll probably put this as an expanding triangular pattern, most likely. That's a higher probability. So this would have to be something of its own, right? If this comes down like this and go back up there and give us a flat here, well, then we'll assume they're going down. If it starts to go up like this, it will get back to the top. So we'll probably get a buy setup, but we don't have a trade right now. Euro. Okay, we broke the low and we're actually consolidating in here. That is the top. This is the low. That's a range we're in. We're looking at a range right now for a breakout. I think there's a high chance we're going to go down. There are many patterns we were looking at here. We're thinking this could be a running flat. And if that is a running flat, we're going to break that low and then go back up. I don't see this as going back up from here right now. It will have to be a much bigger pattern if they're going to go back up. So right now what we have was this. Take this off and take this off. Right? So we're looking at this. And in terms of pattern, we look at this as a possible 1. You can take all of this out. That was a flat in the middle that was supposed to drop. Just drop, break the low, and then go back up. That's why I had a low there. So here, this is what we have. We have a very sharp drop here. Oh, sorry, let me just take that off. We have a very sharp drop. Just think from the top, sharp pull back, sharp drop, and you're consolidating in this range. We did break the low. See, we broke the low. So if it wants to go back to this top to make a bigger flat, that is possible. This could possibly go back up. This here could possibly go back up. But it's limited because I don't think this is going to take off. We're not looking at this as the correction. That could be a partial correction if you're going to stay in here. So the upside here might be limited, even if it happens. Could it possible we'll make a new low? Is it possible that this thing would drop, make a new low? You can look at this as a flat by itself. This is a slow move down. This is start of an upside. You make a flat here, you could probably go up very slow. That's one option. I don't think it's going to take off. The second one is, well, this is a bigger flat. This whole thing is an expanding flat. And this one actually drops. Well, in that case, we don't have a trade. All right, for the upside, we probably have a trade. You could put a buy above this here for this to continue to go up, making this the low. It will probably go up slow, but you can continue to go up. Because then we will take this out. We'll assume that that is not the big running flat. This is the absolute low. This is making a huge flat here, which means if this goes back up, you'll probably get something more like this. Something like this. And then this is going to take off. Right? That if you're thinking upside, this is the first impulse. That's the probability. Right? If you're thinking downside, well, it's just going to drop and break this low. Now, do we have a sell setup, which is a higher probability trade right now at the moment? You can only put a sell if you're putting a sell under this flat. And this is a huge expanding flat. So you don't really have to put a sell that far away. You can wait for a flag anywhere in here. Let this drop lower, make a flag. Then the sell becomes interesting. Right? So right now, there's much of a sell because you have how much pips here? Yeah, you have about 45 pips to get a flag. You can wait for the flag. You'll have enough time to put this entry in. Only if there's a news event that is going to make it drop really fast, then you're worth thinking about that. But right now, it looks more downside to retest this low. So what we're going to put is wait for a flag for a sell. Pong. Okay, it went up, and that's where we stop. So the question is, remember we're showing you this and said, well, this would have to break this low. I think we showed this already in many times. We finally broke that low. So we can take this off because we're beyond that low now, and you can see it very clearly. You have an impulse, you get a flat, you get another impulse. Now, this impulse could still go. And then eventually it's going to start the up move. Or it could turn from exactly where it is and go up. So we'll come back here, go back to the 1 hour. Any sell setup we're going to take, but we're going to take them with caution. But any buy setup we'll take, absolutely take it. So take this off. And again, here's the question. This looks like a flag more for upside. I take this off. That was a slow move down. Let's take it off. So this looks like a flag for upside, but the first impulse is not very sharp. So there is a chance that we might still retest the low. We haven't broken this top, so we might still retest the low before we go. Do we have a sell setup? No. Do we have a buy setup? Well, not the best one, not the one I would put a buy here. I would not put a buy on this as yet because this is not even looking like a flat. It's too deep into this. So we'll just leave this alone and wait for something to happen, wait for some kind of a setup to happen, and then we'll decide which direction it's going. But the bigger trade is to the upside. Aussie. Okay, they dropped once. We broke the low. Aussie also, if you remember last week, I was telling you, Aussie did not break the low. So the downside is very, very high. And I mean this low. We need to break that low to complete the pattern. We have a flat here. We broke the low. Take this off. That was the top. We broke this low. So the low is finally broken. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the end of it. That means we can remember this is a daily correction, if you remember, right? This could still go lower. It could still go back up and come back down and then go back up and then come back down and still go. So why? Because we're in this daily corrective structure. See, we're in this daily structure. So we could literally go back up. Now, after breaking this low, we could literally do this. Make this a running flat. And then repeat this move down. And then go up. That's one option. The second option is you just take off. So if both of those are possible, then what you need to know is, well, is this down move finished or can it drop some more? It can absolutely drop some more. Right? There's no limit to how far it's going to go. The bottom is the limit. So the question is, do we have a buy? Well, we were buying it already. We were pretty sure it's going to take off like a rocket. So this was a buy already. That would have been off. You probably put this buy and take it off. So right now what we have is this going up really, really slow. And it looks like we're going to even drop and retest this low here. So this looks like it's going to drop. If it stays here, it's going to drop and retest that low. So there might be a sell setup here. Right? So we can make an assumption that, you know what, this thing is going to drop. We wait there. If this makes a flag, it's actually a small kind of contracting flat. I don't think we're going to look for a contracting flat. I want to either go break that top or come back down here, go back up, give us something like this. And that becomes a trade to the downside. So most likely I'll be looking for a sell setup here. We'll wait. We're waiting for a flag to sell. So let's wait for that and see if we get that trade. Could this be a running flat? No, this one has a lot of correction. This has a lot of corrections too. So you don't have to put it as a running flat. You can keep it the way it is. New Zealand. Yeah, you can actually even put this entry order on here. Looks very good. It's an aggressive trade to put it on now. Just keep a stop above this top. And this looks like a running flat. This one pretty much looks like a running flat. So that's an entry order. This breaking the bottom is your first target, which means that is where you start moving this trade into positive. And after that, we'll put this as a sell already. Aggressive sell, 15-minute sell. You're in the 15. The one over that is a running flat. We're expecting it to drop once more. This is also daily correction. If you're watching me for the first time, you know you wouldn't have seen it. But if you're watching me very often, I've shown you this pattern many times. So we're correcting this impulse. We're almost back at the low. That's very, very important, because the lower you come here, the more this is a big flat. The lower you come into this, right, the more this comes back here and drop again. It will go back up, but it will become a flat. Go back up there and then drop again. So the lower we come into this, the more we're thinking flat. The more you stay at the top, the more you're thinking trending mode, which means yearly trend to the upside. We don't know that for sure. It could still happen. But the lower this comes, the higher probabilities this is just one big daily flat. We have a sell setup. We'll take that sell today and see where that takes us. Can that change from a sell into a buy? Well, that will take a long time. That would be about, you wouldn't get a buy setup here until tomorrow probably. Yen. Yen is in the middle of nowhere. We sold that, we close it. It's in the middle of nowhere. The two options we have right now is we're making a flat here. There's a bigger flat forming. This trade here dropped. We knew that the possibilities is going to go back up. You see, first we looked at this. This could be a contracting flat and it could drop to this level. If it doesn't drop to that level, which is, if it could go back up, because we're looking at this and we're thinking, well, this could still be in the correction. See, it could still be the correction. Come back here, tag the top, come here, go back up there, come back down, retest the top. Because this is going to be a flat of its own. This could have been the correction, but this is the bigger one. So we'll go with that as a flat. So right now, go to the 15. Do we have a buy setup? Nope. But if it pulls back, you get a buy setup. So here's the deal. Can it still drop? And that is a contracting flat. Possible. We don't have any sell setup, right? There is no sell setup. But if this here pull back here, now we have a buy setup. This could go. Retest that though. So it pulls back, you put the buy entry. It pulls back, make a flag. We assume we're retesting this low. Still upside possible, right? So when you're in a correction like this, you could either know what you're doing and trade it, or you don't know what you're doing, leave it alone. So if, let's say, it doesn't pull back and this just climbs and break this top, well, you're looking for this sell. Most likely this would be the easier trade to get after this flat is formed. It will still go back up. You have to get in and get out. So under 15, if it pulls back, we have a running flat for the trade. I don't have anything, so we'll just take this out and put waiting for a running flat, waiting for a buy setup. Swiss, that's already gone. We tried to sell this. This was a break-even trade. If you follow us, you will know. We were selling this in the news, by the way, so don't worry about that. That would be a break-even trade. I think we closed them way before. Can we put this as a running flat? It's possible. Or you can a bigger running flat, or you might still get a bigger running flat in the future. This will still drop, right? So what you're doing is you've got a big drop, you get this, you get a big flat, kind of do this, it's a sell. So is there a trade to the upside before it drops? Well, you had a trade this morning if you were trading this one. If you're trading that breakout, you had to trade. There's a good chance it could still come here and go back up. We don't have any buy setup anymore. You're definitely not buying the top of this. See that? You're not buying the top here. You have to buy it from the bottom going up. And you can look for a sell. Actually, if this goes up here and it drops, if this drop make a flag, we're selling. Any flag we will sell. Right? Because the downside is the bigger trade, right? Go to the 4-hour. This is downside. Now, how high can it go? I think this can climb. It can go quite a lot more up. And then you're looking for this trade. Well, the hope is that it doesn't really go quite a lot. And we get this trade. Sometime this week, we're getting this trade. Can it go back all the way to the top there? Well, if that happens, then you're getting this trade, and then you're going back to that top. Which means you're going to have a huge flat in the middle, and we are stuck in this sideways move here for a long time. If this flat happens, we are here for a very long time. If it actually drops and breaks this low, then we're not here for a long time. Right? Because if you break this low, the next possible pattern we're going to look at this as a 1, 2, 3, is a pullback and a drop to retest this low. We're in a big sideways move in the daily, like really huge. On the weekly, sorry. So 2 ways you can look at all of this. Pull a line like this, starting from here. Pull a line like that. Go back to the weekly. So you can make an assumption that this was your up move. 1, there's an expanding flat in here. 2, 3 to that point. And all of this here, or to this point, you can even bring it to this point if you want. It doesn't matter which one of those you use, depending which one is higher. And you can use all of this here. Some kind of a correction, which means this can come back here and then go out of that. So we're in this piece here now, trying to figure out, is it going to take off from there, or is it going to come back here? Could this actually take off? Let's say this was all the correction. This here was all the correction. And this is trying to go up. Well, it's a weird way of showing an impulse, because if you look at all the previous impulses, they were pretty sharp. At some point, you got some really sharp moves, right? So this had a small flag, a pullback, and a sharp move. This one was really sharp. This one had a flat here, a small pullback, but go make a big one, take off. Right? And the impulse down was really sharp. But this got a big flat here. You're getting another flat here. So it's not looking very impulsive to the upside. It looks like a higher probability to come back here and then go, making this a bigger flat. See? Now let's go back into a daily. In the daily, we are right now in this piece. We're doing some kind of a consolidation here. So if this is going to drop here, it will probably go back there, come here, and then this could go out of the structure. Or this would drop all the way to the bottom here. Probably this come lower, go back up there, drop all the way to the bottom, and then go back out of the structure. Breaking the low. They will still go out of the structure, right? It's all whether this is going to go sharp or this is the one that takes off. See, that's pretty much it. This one, where do you put it? You can put it here. That one is not so good. We put it there because it's not the ideal pattern. It's what you have. Now, could it be that this would be a much bigger pattern in the future? Let's say something like this. Let's just fantasize a little for those who think that will take a few years for you to know. But could it possibly be something like this? This was your impulse. This was your slow climb. You got a bigger flat in here, right? Eventually you got a bigger flat here, and this one's slow climb, and then you got a sharp move down, and then this takes off. Can you see that pattern forming? If you can see that, you understand wave analysis. Because I still don't like this running, this contracting pattern. But for now, this will probably take a couple of years. But for now, we're going to take this as assuming that that is it. But in a couple of years, you might see this pattern and that might take off. We have patterns like those, actually. If you go back to the yearly and the Europong, you will see that pattern. Right now, what is our trade? Our trade is a sell setup. The big trade is a sell setup. If you get a 15-minute trade to the upside, you can take it. There isn't any trade setup right now. So this could still go up, but you don't have a trade, it's gone. You have to wait for this to either make another flag like this again and then buy, or wait for it to drop. So we'll leave this alone. CAD, you do have a buy setup. You can buy one more here. Just above the top, you can put an entry for a buy. You're getting a flag, so that's a buy. One trade, just one trade. You have a lot of divergence. One impulse, take profit. We already broke the top of this move. And I don't think that's all the correction, which means if you break that top, you could still come back here. Sorry, buy. I'll put it as aggressive buy. For my traders, that's an aggressive buy, which means you're buying in the 15. Euro yen. So this did drop. That's a 15-minute trade. It didn't go very far. You exit the trade. You're still within this correction. We know that. And you have this. It didn't drop very far, so we will go with that as the correction. Maybe we're still in the correction. I still think we're in that correction. Take this off. You're getting another 15-minute trade if you want. I think we just ignore this. Let it come back here. I kind of come back there, wait for this, get the big flat, and then look for the drop. It's making a bigger flat. So literally making a bigger flat there. Right, because we came down pretty deep into this one. So whatever happens here, it's going to be a big flat. This is not the one going up. This wouldn't go. This would probably come back here. Maybe do this, maybe come back here, give you a flat in there. Come back here, make the top, and then drop. So we wait for all of this to happen, and then we go for the sell. Trading in that range is too tight. It's not worth it. Canadian, that was a good sell. This is a good sell. We know where these are going. I'm on the 5th, I'm on the 1 hour. So if you want to go to 15 and take it more aggressive, not a bad idea. You actually have a running flat already in play. You can use this one. If this is the running flat there and they're going, they break the top. And that would be the more aggressive one. If you want to stay in the 1 hour, you can put it back where it was. This one we stayed on the 1 hour, the aggressive trade would have been somewhere in here, dropping. So big picture downside on these. It's still going, so I think that is a good one. Stay with that. Let's go. Sell setup. I'll put it as a 1 hour sell. Put it under the low. You can go aggressive if you want, right? Pang Yen, sell setup. It's still forming. It will take a while. So we sold the Pang Yen last week. We sold this one. We're going to sell this. This is a bigger one forming here now. You can already see that. Leave it right where it is. But it's not going to go now. It's going to take a while. Because we're getting some flat inside here. If you guys want to get aggressive within this range, you'll have to check the range. See the setup. This one is going to drop. But then you're going to get this. And then you're going to go back up. Come here. Go there. Come here. It's going to be here a while. What's the range? Let's see what's the range if you want to trade inside the range. 80 pips. somewhere around 80 pips. So if you're going to trade inside the range, you should know that. I don't think this will drop now. There is a trade here in the very, very small time frame. That range is really small. It's probably just going to do this and go right back up. It's going to drop here and go right back up because we have this and we have that. So it has to come back, finish this. This would be a better one for the upside. You're going to get this move up. And then we have one down and 1, 2, 3 up. So you have one down and then you have 1, 2, 3 up to finish this pattern before we drop. I'm under 15 minutes. All of that could finish today. So we'll get a sell set up here today, but leave the entry order for the sell here. Just in case. Put it sell. New Zealand. Last week we sold most of these. All of these we sold last week. So you made profit. Whether you take break even and some of them is okay, but you made profit. This would have been a close. This was the aggressive one in the 15 minutes. You know that there's a possibility for this to happen for running flat. So take that back. I think we got the running flat. We can put this as a running flat here. We can make an argument for that, or part of a running flat. So you have another sell setup, take it. If it's part of a running flat, you're going to get break even in this trade. For my traders, we're looking at a sell here with two options. We're still in the running flat. We're still in this. Right? We're still in this. This is not over. It becomes part of it. So this could drop, pull back, go there, come here, go there, and then drop. Right? This could be part of it, or this just drops. This one is pretty sharp. There is a correction here, but it's pretty sharp. So I think we're going to have different options in this, but it will still give you break even. So I still like the trade. So I'm going to put this in aggressive sell. Change the structure in this one to an aggressive sell. It's still downside. We know where they're going, right? So if you're following me on YouTube only, remember this, go back to when we were doing the free webinars and this piece going to break the top here and then drop. Go back to that moment, and there is webinars out there showing you that, not one day, but a whole series of them, showing you why we think this is going to break the top and then come right back here and then go back up. Keep a copy of this one so you would remember when it starts going back up, why we think it's going to go back up. And if you follow us, you will know whether we change that forecast because of this. I don't think we're changing it as yet. So you're getting a sell setup of yen. The sell was good. You're getting another sell setup. Let's see if we have this sell setup here now. This would have been a break even. It's on a 15 aggressive. I think we all those trades, you see that, right? That's a close. Take it off. We're getting a deeper correction. Just put it like this. We have these sharp moves on all of them. So keep it open for a running flat. Keep that open for possible running flats, which means this is off. You're getting a sell setup here. Be careful with this one. We're back at the top. We're still at the top here. See, we're still at the top there. So even if this breaks, it might not go very far. It's a sell. If it breaks, it might not go very far. See this? It might just drop here and go back up. So you have to go and break even. I think we're going to have running flats somewhere. I'll still take them. They're all sell setups. The running flat could be long drawn out running flat. So I'm going to put this as an aggressive sell. You manage it very carefully. This one has a perfect sell. That was a sell for this running flat. Remember I showed you a few running flats this morning. That was a sell for the running flat. You're getting another sell here. This is an easy one. Let's put the entry under the low. Don't worry. Don't worry with what it's doing. Okay. Let's go. That's a sell. Sorry, we put a sell on this, not an aggressive sell, just a sell. Euros. Broke the top. You get out. Right? You get out of the trade. Get in the trade here now for a possible sell. Let's see if we have the sell set up. No, it's probably going to consolidate deeper and still go up, right? So it's still going to go up. The thing is whether this is a deeper consolidation. Let's see, take this off. Let me see what it looks like in a 15, and we'll make that decision. So either this is the running flat or we're making a bigger one here, right? Like 1, 2, 3. This looks upside. This piece here looks upside. But this one is deep in it as well. So if you take the trade, just assume that it's making a flat here. Let it go, break that top. And if it starts to drop, we definitely sell it. right? I think buying this is a little aggressive. It's going up, but aggressive because I'm not sure whether this belongs to part of that. We can't confirm that. So if you're buying this, you're buying it this is sharp. So I would say we skip the buy, let it break the top, and then we see if it start to drop, we will sell it. If not, go look at one that has a buy setup or take a sell on the Aussie. Pick another trade. Don't pick this one, not the Euro. Pick another one with Euro or with Aussie inside. You're in New Zealand? Okay. It came back to the low, tagged the low. So can we assume we're making a flat here? Another flat for upside? Possible. Right, we're still in that sideways, that move that we're looking at. That is this one. We're still in this, right? We're still pretty much in this. See that thing? We're still in it. So if you pull this somewhere, I think we're going to drop one more. There's a chance that this here is going to drop one more. This was the low of this one for a 1, a 2, and a 3. And now it's correcting like this. So it's probably going to drop here one more, do this, and then you get a buy setup. That would be a good buy setup if you get it like that. So you still want it to come and break this low. Most likely this here will break the low. Work its way up somewhere there, come here, drop, break the low, you're going to be in this structure. And then we look for the upside. So take that out, let it, don't sell it, wait, and don't buy it just yet. Let it come back to the low, and then we look for the buy. I'll put the line at the top because we want this one to, we're looking at this and we're looking at this. Take that off. Let this drop, then we look for the buy setup. Euro Swiss. Okay, so here's the question. Are we ready for the upside? We're going to break out now. It's going to be a running flat. Take this off. It's going to be a running flat. So we broke the low. We're not expecting to break the top somewhere here. We have a buy setup. Let's go with it. Let's see what this looks like in the 15. Put it above the top. It's going to consolidate some more here and then drop. I think we'll make a bigger consolidation here. Chances are this will go here, come back here, go back there. Maybe even come back here like this. As long as it stays at the top here, we're buying. Put an entry above the top and make it a buy. It's not an aggressive buy. We're trying to go up. So if it consolidates more, no problem. On the 1 hour, you see that's a very small flag, which means on the 1 hour, all you will see is a series of up and down here. And then we're looking for that trade up. So let's see. Euro CAD. This has to pull back before we get into any buy. You literally want it to pull back. I want this to pull back here. Make this. And then we'll consider buy. So do we have any sell setups there? Let's say 1 hour. Nope. We also don't have any buy setups. We could get a sell setup if this starts to consolidate. If this goes back up and make a running flat here that we see clearly, then we could consider a sell. And then upside. So let's wait. Let's wait and see. Euro pound. You're at the top, right, of this very, very big structure. Huge. Right, what's the daily in that? Yep, if it's a running flat here, then we're coming back down. So let's go to the 1 hour, take the sell. You're getting a sell setup, go with it. It's an aggressive trade. It's a very aggressive trade if you're taking it. Don't let it go higher. If this goes back up there, don't let it go higher than that. If it goes higher than that, take it off. So go with the sell. But you have to manage this trade very carefully. We're just assuming this is the turning point. We don't know that as yet. But if it is, it's a good trade. Don't go too close. Stay under the low. Use a stop here. And if this does go, it doesn't have to go back up, right? This could be it. This could be the flat, right? This could be that small flat, and this could drop. But if it goes back up, if it stays here longer and goes back up there, watch it at this level. It's still valid. Put the entry here. But if it comes higher into this, take it off. So good sell setup. Let's go. Pound Swiss. We didn't break this low. Take it off. It kind of went there, but it didn't break. Can we still look at this as a possible running flat? Not as yet. Let's see what it does here. If they stay at the top there, this is coming down. The range is small, it's just coming back to about this level here. We're in this range. So if you're trading, it's really small trades. I think we wait until it complete the pattern in there. What's the range? It's just about 32 pips. Let it finish what it's doing there, and then we'll look for the trade. Tonkat? Okay, it went up back, right? We were looking for the possibility of this is a running flat. It's going to drop. It went back up, take off the trade. Trade never trigger, right? So now can we look at it as an expanding flat? The trade was from here. When we put the entry order, we thought this could be the running flat, right? That this here would be the running flat. 1, 2, 3, and that this here would drop, right? I think it was during the news we put that, right? So this would be the trade. Instead, it went back up. So you're not targeted. Could it be an expanding flat now? Right? It's still possible that's an expanding flat because we're expecting downside. If that's an expanding flat, then we change this trade. It's still a sell, but now we change it to this one. We're selling this one here. So what you want to see here? You want to see this. Go there, come here, go back up there, make a flat like this, and then we sell it. Don't sell it now. Wait for the flat to complete itself. Once we get a complete flat, I'll put it as waiting for a sell setup. We'll sell it because we'll still keep this as a possible expanding flat. We'll change it once we see that structurally change. It comes, break this low, start to go back up. We'll have a bigger correction here, right? This would be a bigger correction. So we'd look at this way. One up, down. Whether we put this as a flat there, we'll consider that. One more up, down. One up, bigger down here, and then go back up. We'll still be in this. So this could be a trade if it forms there to come break this low and then go back up. This would be a big flat. So let's see. We wait now. We don't have a trade set up. Pound New Zealand. That would be a break even. We wouldn't consider taking profit. We'll consider break even. Now what it's doing, let's go back and see what's the big picture. What's the 4-hour telling us? Downside. So we're still expecting this to drop here, but we are correcting at the moment there. So wait for that correction and then the drop. Let's go back to the 1 hour. It's correcting. Wait for this to finish. And then we get the sell. Let's see the 15, what it looks like. Just correction. Let this break the top. And then we put a sell here for this one. Right, so you put a sell setup. We're waiting for that sell setup. As soon as it breaks the top, you can put there. I'll put the entry here now so you see where, but you don't put the entry until we break the top. We're going to assume that this is going to drop. If it doesn't drop now, it's going to drop later. Right? Pangos, that was a sell. Depending, I don't know how you close it, but we're getting another sell here. So we'll put an entry over here too. So come back here. Where is this going? Also coming back to the low. You might just get about one more drop there. One more drop here and then could possibly go right back up if we don't break through this structure, right? So we could look at this two ways. 1, 2, 3, go right back up, or this drops through and this is going to be 1, 2, 3. If it goes right back up, it's coming down. So this would be a flat in the middle of this complex one. Take the sell and we'll figure out which one it is. So we have a sell set up. Let's go. Aussie, New Zealand, you're making a big, huge flat here. I think all of this is just one big, huge flat. With a big flat in the middle here, see this? Kind of a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This will probably go back, break the top. I don't know where it's going. Literally, it's just one big consolidation inside of this. Break this top probably. Just go break the top again once more. This is a big, big, big slow move up. Where is this taking us? I don't know. We might have to put this one as the running flat with a big pattern in here. It does have a big flat in there. We weren't thinking that that could be the running flat because this has a big 1, 2, 3. And this is sharp, but it might be the running flat. So this is going up. That's a buy setup. Where would that take you? Let's go. We test this top. If that's the case, then this would be the correction. This would be a single sharp wave to the top there. And this one would be a 1, 2, 3. We don't have to break the top. We broke the low and then drop like this. If this is still part of a bigger correction, then we will still drop, but then we'll go back up. I don't see this being part of a bigger correction. It could still be, depending on how you look at this one, right? Depending on how you look at this correction here. So this could still be a complex one. So it's a buy setup, but very short term. You do have a buy, and where you're going to buy it is if you get a flag here for the buy. If not, just stay out of it. It's moving really, really slow on all time frame. Even the 1 hour is very slow. Aussie CAD. Okay, this is a big flat, so we try to get a trade from the top. Let's see in the 15. Yep, put a sell setup here. You have a small flat there, so use that for the sell setup. You're within this range. Let's see if it goes back up. I don't expect them to go back up. That's the impulse. Right? It could drop through. This could drop straight through. Or it could come here and make an attempt to go back up. Not that I think it will, but we'll keep that in mind. So I'll put this in aggressive sell. We'll manage that. Aussie Swiss. Okay. So this twice break even. Take that out twice, break even, take that out there. And this is a sharp move up. That's a sharp move up high. Let's wait, see if it's an extended running flat. I'll go back with this. We'll leave this as a contracting flat. I think we can leave that as a contracting flat there. And this might be making a running flat now. Kind of a 1, 1, 2, 3. Go back up there, make this. And still drop. So let's see if we have a sell setup at the top there. You have a very, very short term. See how this came down slowly, but then drop. We're getting a similar structure here. So what we can do is go for, we thought this would go up one more, right? I really thought that would go up one more before it drops, right? That this is going to go up one more and then drop. Turns out this was a small flat. This was a slow move, and then it dropped. So put an entry here and keep an eye with a stop just above this one. So if they drop here and decide to go back up, we take break even. I put an entry here. If it drops beyond this low here and decide to go back up, take the break even because you're going to get one more up. We'll go for the buy. But there's a good chance that if this is the running flat, it's going to drop. This one is going to follow exactly that thing and drop again. So we'll go with an aggressive sell here too. New Zealand CAD. Okay, this didn't break out, but you got a bigger flat. Take that out. Take this out. You can put this as a zone 1. Probably something more like this. This would probably 1, 2, 3, come back here and then go. So you can put this whole thing here as 1. This whole piece here as 1. And then put this with an expanding or running flat in the middle, whichever that is. This didn't drop. We're back at the top. Let's see what the bigger picture looks like. Still looks downside. So if we get a sell from here, we'll take it. Go back to the 15. Here's a problem. This one is your problem. That sharp pullback that didn't break the top. So even if this drops here, it's going to pull back like this, give us a flat, and then we get that trade. So we wait on this. Don't take it as yet. It's still going to drop, but not as yet. New Zealand Swiss. I don't think we ever even broke this one. Right? So we're still within this correction. And where does that take you? Let's go in the 1 hour C. Nowhere. No trade setups as yet. You can put this as the flat. It's still within the flat. So we wait. It's not a buy setup. It's not a sell setup at the top there. Cat Swiss. Same here. We don't have anything as yet. Let's go natural gas. If you took the small sell, that's a good one. It dropped. I think we did that Friday. Look for that sell to the downside. It dropped. Now you have to get the hell out of it and wait. Right? We're looking for this move down. So it can still come. We can still expect more downside. I still think we can get all the way to this level. So wait for another flag, sell it. Wait for another flag here, and then we sell. So wait for a sell setup. Still valid, still a sell setup. Let's see what the bigger picture looks like, what the smaller pictures are, what the internal looks like. Still a sell setup. You don't have a trade setup as yet, but we can leave it here for the sell. It's going to consolidate more in here. And the same thing here. It's already consolidating more, so you can leave the sell here. I think we'll consolidate much more. Probably come back here, go back up, make a bigger flat, and then drop. On the 1 hour, you can see that clearly. So leave the entry order for the sell, and we're going for this trade. We're going for this trade here. Break this low. That's the top of the movement. Let's see where we are in the bigger picture. More down, at least one more down. We do have divergence, but it's going to drop one more. So I'll go one more drop here. And then be careful, this can go back up because we're getting a lot of corrections here. See, we can go right back like this. This dropped, broke that low, and then go right back up. So we could be looking at something like that. Right now, we're in this one. Okay, so this could drop here and go right back up like this. We could be in some kind of a channel there. So one drop, and then you're taking profit. Go back to the 1 hour. It's still a good trade, just to break this low. S&P 500. If you sold it, you got break even. All right, we sold it twice. You should have taken some profit because we were selling it in the 15. You should have closed that trade here if you did wonderful. The first and the second one, and put an entry for a sell here. We're making a sell sub. You're actually getting a sell here as well. But we're in this correction. So you have 1, 2, you get this, you're coming down, you're going to get this, it's going to drop, go back up, come back down, go back up, and then drop. I'm on the 15 minutes. All of this could happen today. So we're going to get a very good trade here today. Now, if you want to get aggressive and sell that, you got to be cautious because it's not going to go very far. We know where this is going, right? That's a sell. Keep it under the low. They're not going to drop now, but we'll keep it under the low, and then we'll look for a good sell setup. So we're coming to break this low here and maybe even lower. Wait for it. We don't have a trade setup as yet. So we're going to put the sell, put it to the sell. Wait, this one also you would have taken break even. How many hours? There's a flag here, but I don't know if that is going to drop. I mean, there's so many corrections in here. Take the flag, manage it. Get out really quick because it's probably just going to drop a little and then go right back up. We have this sharp move here, see? So there's a good chance this is just going to drop like this and it's going to go right back up, give you this, probably drop again and then go back up to make this one. So this is a very aggressive sell if you're taking it, understanding that it could go back up because we're inside of this sharp move here. Same here, right? We have 1, 2, 3 very sharp move, and you're getting a flag here. This was a sell. You can sell this as well, but you got to be careful. It might not break the low. It might just come here, go back up. Aggressive sell. Next. Close the trade. If you didn't close it here, which you should have done, right? If you didn't close it there, this is going to drop, put an entry under the low. I don't think it's ready to go. Wait, to stay away from this, we broke this low already. So stay away from that. Nifty. Okay. So we're in this one now. Remember, we had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're in this. This is what Nifty is doing. Here's the question. The bigger picture is this. Two ways to look at this. That is a running flat forming there, and this is going to go back up. Or it drops lower, make a flag here, and then we sell it back to this low again. So which is it? Why do you care? You're looking for a buy setup right now. I don't think you'll get a buy setup here. I think this is going to consolidate here and drop one more, because we had 1, 2, 3, we had 1, 2, 3, we could get 1, 2, 3, and then upside. If it consolidates, we'll consider if we want to sell it. If you're going to buy it, you can either buy above the top or wait for this to go up, make a flag, buy the flag. This would be all the running flag. So you'll have to wait on this to decide whether you have a trade or not. On the cryptos, they're all dropping. Wait until they break the low. Like we tell you, wait until they break the low, and then we'll look for buy. So I'm going to put in a 4-hour because I'm going to show you what we're looking at. So when you're looking at something like this, you can do it two ways. This was the flat we were looking at. So this one here, 1, 2, 3, with this being an expanding flat in the middle. That is one possibility. Remember, that's why we took this buy. And if you took that buy, you were out of the trade already because you bought it here. You bought this. Remember what I said. If you're keeping it for the long run, put an entry order to sell. So you're out of that. If you want to take profit here, that's up to you. That's a different trade, right? Now it's going to break the low. It could probably just drop like this, break the low. If this pattern is correct, if that pattern is incorrect, this was the correction. And this is going to come here, come back here. We might take another buy again, and then watch it drop and then upside. If you're working for the long-term trade you want, let it break the low. We're going to look for the buy. Same thing here. I'm just not going to explain every one of them. I'm just going to show you, let it break the low, then buy. We don't have any buy setup. If this is the start of the upside, let's say this is the start of the upside, it will turn somewhere here and go back up, right? So let's assume that is the start of the upside. What is going to happen? This could turn from here and start going back up, because this would be 1, this would be 2, that would be. If it's going to drop, let it break the low, and then we look for the buy setup. OMG, same thing. Break low, go for buy. It's about to break that low already in the 4-hour. See, we're about to break the low. Sorry. I'm going to go really quick because we don't have a lot of time here now. Oh, where was I? OMG. Break the low. It is about to break the low. We look for buy setups. This one break the low. We look for buy setups. It's coming. It's going to probably break this low, and then we look for buy setups. Same here. See, we're about to break, we'll consolidate, break this low, then look for buy. Same here. If you're selling short term, well, then you know what to do. You don't need me to tell you, right? I think this should eventually break the low, and so is all of them. There's no sense going through all of them, right? All of them. Break this low and then go back up. This one is at a really, really, really low point. I think this is the strangest of them. So once it turns to give us a trade setup, we'll take the trade. If it turns to give a trade setup, we'll take it. We have a lot of these sharp spikes that could give you money. Like if we didn't see that one coming, but if we saw it, you could get another one here. Let's see this. Broke the low here. Look for buy setups. This one would be the closest one to start giving you buy setups. You need a reversal, you need a flag, and then we'll buy. Let's see which comes first. Okay, guys, that's about it for the cryptos. I'll see all of you. Thank you for being here. I'll close the room for the recording to process. See all of you in the London session. All right, I'll be back there for the London session. Take care. Trade with care. Bye.